Hey, welcome back to the Overrated Experience Sports and Sports Betting Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Blondin, running solo today. Quick check-in for the lead up to the Super Bowl. Action going on. We're going to have a great 2 weeks leading into the matchup. Super Bowl 58. Super Bowl features Patty Mahomes taking on the San Francisco 49ers and Brock Purdy in the massive Super Bowl that is coming up. As sports bettors, we got to look at it from a perspective of grabbing opportunities where you can get them well ahead of time. And what I mean by that is all the sharp bettors are out there looking at the lines at each sports book, and any moment, any day, any hour, somebody can walk into a sports book, drop a bag of cash, possibly millions, to shift the line and or a prop one way or another. And you may have liked that line. You may have loved that line. You may be sitting on that line, but it may change before you know it. So we're going to talk a little bit about our opening thoughts on what we see on the board so far. This is going to evolve, obviously, as the week and next week move on. And we'll talk quickly about some NFL news. And that is kind of the direction we're going to take here today. And if you haven't joined the Overrated Experience Sports and Sports Betting Podcast, this is a viewpoint from sports betting and sports in general and opinions that is from a square bettor, meaning that non-professional. So take it for what it is. I am just like you. I have a couch and I have an opinion, and here I have a podcast, so I'm going to give it. So let's kick it off with some NFL news. And it kicks off with breaking news today. The Seattle Seahawks do have a new coach, Mike Macdonald, now former defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens, heads into Seattle to take over. And, when's the last time? I can only think of Pete Carroll as the Seahawks coach, and he's done, so they're going in a new direction defensively, which I'm kind of surprised because most teams are moving in the offensive direction and usually have an offensive mind. So watch for, probably a significant OC hire on the Seattle side as they look to move to that next level with Geno Smith, probably coming back next year, but probably transitioning to the next franchise quarterback, which may take a while with their draft position, etc. So we'll see what happens there. Mike Macdonald, Seattle Seahawks head coach. News out of Philadelphia, A.J. Brown. Wow. The shine is really shone off here. So there's rumors that the Eagles may be looking to trade A.J. Brown, maybe pointing to him as one of the reasons why the locker room and the chemistry fell off the rails. So we'll keep a close eye on that, see what happens. But if somebody picks up A.J. Brown, obviously impact player. And that's the tough thing about having diva receivers. He's one of the best receivers in football. But you have to keep these guys happy. You have to keep the Jamar Chases happy. You have to keep the Justin Jeffersons happy. And you got to keep the A.J. Browns happy by getting them the ball and continuously bringing them into the offense. I think some teams are aware of that. I think Minnesota understands that. You have to keep them involved, or you're going to get situations like this where maybe a rift in the locker room tore this team apart and it showed on the field. In some news and notes from Bronco land, or Raider land, actually a couple notes that reports from NFL Rumors, which is a Twitter site, X site, whatever. And by the way, you can follow the Overrated Experience on Overrated EXPER2. And you can follow us there, and you can see some of these tweets I retweet and or thoughts I give on all sports on that Twitter site. So many NFL executives have predicted Broncos' Russell Wilson playing for the Las Vegas Raiders next season. I guess he's going to go somewhere, whether it be New England, Atlanta, or, the Raiders. But what does Russell Wilson really have in the gas tank? And I don't see Wilson necessarily fitting in well here. I don't know if there's a right situation for him. He's at the average part of his career. Maybe does he fit better in Washington for 1 or 2 years until they're potential number 2 overall draft pick, quarterback, whoever that may be, jumps in and takes over. I don't know, but Raiders don't commit long term. You already had the same situation with Jimmy G, and you pretty much moved on there. And speaking of Jimmy G, reports show that Jimmy G and Hunter Renfrow, if the Raiders released these two guys, they would save $25 million on their cap space, which I think is a no-brainer. You do it. The value is not there for this team right now. Look other places and say goodbye to Jimmy G. Also, great meme out there that I've retweeted. I got it from Gabriel Morency, guy I follow. Good read, good follow. And there's a meme going around. He's not the only guy that's retweeted it, but you see a Madden cover for 2025. It has Taylor Swift on the front. It's actually pretty funny. So check it out. Also, what else we got the NFL? Well, we're going to transition to the Super Bowl. We're just kicking it off, getting things started. And what do we got to look at? Well, the game's on February 11th on a Sunday. And actually, I was listening to Dan Patrick, and he brought up an idea that I didn't think of, but it was bang on. Wouldn't you love to make Super Bowl Sunday actually Super Bowl Saturday? Would that not make sense? I mean, you're looking at the event of the Super Bowl as one of the biggest events, not just sporting events, on TV, and people plan their weekend around and their Monday off, or calling it sick, of those who can't handle taking a vacation day, around the Super Bowl and their party. How much bigger would the Super Bowl be if it was at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock Saturday night, where people are en masse putting parties together, bars are hopping, absolutely ridiculously hopping. A Saturday night Super Bowl where you got your Sunday to recover. I can't agree with this idea anymore. As soon as I heard it, I was like, yes, that's exactly what the doctor ordered. We need the Super Bowl to be moved to Saturday. They have a 2-week gap already, so it's not like there's a short rest period. It already feels long enough before we kick off at 6:30 or 6:20, whatever it is, that there's no reason why this game cannot be moved up. So NFL, listen to the Dan Patrick Show. Get your ass on it. Move this game to Saturday. Save us all a vacation day on the Monday. It's the right thing to do. It's going to boost your product. And your product doesn't need any more boosting, but come on. You guys are gluttons for extra money, every coin in the couch. So I think you should do this, and I think it will pay off big time. Well, quick looks at the Super Bowl lines, and this podcast is more of a feel out, kind of an opening round. Let's feel each other out here. And what I've done is looked at a few things, including 4 sports books. Make that 5 that I'll probably look at and potentially use. FanDuel for sure I'll be using. Bet365 more as a reference. DraftKings potentially. The Score potentially. Sports Interaction probably not, but potentially. But when you look at the lines, I've said this before, BetStamp, there's a nice app out there. If you download BetStamp, it allows you to look at all your local lines at once. And the strategy here is to have multiple books so that you can grab the line that suits your pick the most. So as an example, January 31st, right now, FanDuel has the 49ers as 1.5 point favorites. And the rest of the books, Bet365, DraftKings, The Score, and Sports Interaction, has the 49ers as 2-point favorites. So if you like the Chiefs, you're going to take the spread, you're obviously going to avoid FanDuel and take Bet365, DraftKings, or whatever. But if you like the 49ers, you're absolutely going to take FanDuel. So it gives you more outs. It's more of an option. If you like the money line, well, let's look at that too. So the best money line odds, if you like the Chiefs, you're going to look at plus 110 FanDuel, plus 110 Bet365, plus 105 DraftKings, 108 The Score, and plus 110 Interaction. So they're pretty much all the same, but you're going to avoid DraftKings if you like KC straight up because they're only at plus 105. If you like the 49ers, you may be looking at minus 125 with DraftKings. The rest of them are showing minus 130. So do your line shopping, stay on top of it. But these lines will switch. Most pro bettors that I've been hearing on the social media and also places like VSiN, Follow the Money, which is a great show, by the way, and the podcasts are available daily, and I would highly recommend that, especially leading into the Super Bowl and the coverage they provide. They have mentioned many times that there might be a few guys coming into the sports book in Vegas dropping millions, and this may adjust the lines, and predictably so. I got to believe they're right, that if you like KC right now, that they're going to be +2. Take it now, because it's going to switch. It's going to switch. Can't foresee the 49ers coming in as favorites. The Patty Mahomes popularity bandwagon is going to start to get some steam, and you might take advantage of that line now. So, interesting stuff there. But just again, to kick it off, some thought-provoking ideas, thought-provoking bets that I may change, may take, may not, but I thought I'd share. Super Bowl MVP, which is an interesting line, because most of the time, the heavily majority of the time, the quarterbacks are the favorite to win this award, the Super Bowl MVP. There have been exceptions, obviously, with Desmond Howard with the Green Bay Packers, back when they knocked off the Patriots in the Brett Favre days. You had Larry Brown with the Cowboys against the Steelers. There's a couple other examples where it was a non-quarterback winning the MVP. But you got to look at Mahomes are pretty much have the odds-on favorite to win it. Mahomes is +140, which is still good because Mahomes won it last year. You'd think that he's going to, if Kansas City wins, somebody else has to have such an exceptional Super Bowl to bypass Mahomes. So even +140 is pretty good. If you like the 49ers, Brock Purdy +200. He's the story, right? He's the Mr. Irrelevant, is now leading a team to the Super Bowl. And if he wins it and has a second half like he did last week against the Lions, he's got that locked away and you'll double your money. But some other value plays, if you think there may be a non-quarterback winning it, and some of the players I'm going to look at have a shot. I mean, Christian McCaffrey has an absolute great shot. Obviously not a quarterback level shot, but a +450, maybe you sprinkle a few dollars on there. You can't ignore if he scores 2 or 3 touchdowns, runs for 100 yards, 75 yards receiving. He could do it all. It could be the difference maker, and he could very well take that MVP home. Travis Kelce, well, the whole storyline's there, right? +1700. He wins it. The whole, embrace with Taylor Swift on the field after the game. So watch out for that storyline. That's a potential. 1700 is pretty damn good for a guy that, might get 10, 11 receptions, multiple touchdowns, and could very well be the difference maker in this game. And what about George Kittle, +7,000? Why can't George Kittle be a fan favorite enough where, he puts a couple touchdowns, has over 150 yards receiving, whatever it may be, great blocking, key plays. He could also be the guy. And the 49ers are hit and miss, though. They tend to focus on a couple guys shine each game, whether it be Ayuk, McCaffrey, Kittle, and Deebo Samuel or Brock Purdy. So it's tough, but you're taking your chances. But George Kittle could very well be a value play here. Chris Jones of the Kansas City Chiefs putting pressure on Brock Purdy may make a difference here. He's at +1400. Very well could see him do some damage and maybe be considered if this is a defensive ball game. If the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win this game, if they're going to win this game, just like the other games, the offense is going to do their job, but it's going to be the defense that stands out. That's how it's looking, even despite those 3 playoff wins so far. The defense has been the difference. So Chris Jones is a big part of that. Nick Bosa as well, +10,000. Could see him. Sacks on Mahomes. So he's very well in contention. But quarterbacks obviously lead the way there. Let me take a little sip because my voice is getting perched. Yes, this is real life because you're hearing the water go down. Some Super Bowl specials brought to you by FanDuel. That's the only book I've looked at right now for these, and I'm going to expand as, I try to come in with these quick updates. Something interesting worth to note down, Mahomes and Purdy rushing yards combined over 50 or more, plus 160. The way we've seen these guys run last week, especially Brock Purdy going out of his comfort zone, why wouldn't he make it necessarily a part of his repertoire in key situations in the Super Bowl? And Patty Mahomes is going to take off for at least 30 yards, maybe 40 yards. And if they're going to give it to him, he's going to run. So that stood out to me as maybe too low and maybe a value of plus 160. What about Nick Bosa of the 49ers and Chris Jones, again, of the Kansas City Chiefs, to record a half sack each at plus 200? You tell me you can't see this happening? Look, Mahomes is going to get touched at least once or twice. And who's odds-on guy to do it for the 49ers? It's going to be Nick Bosa. I see Purdy getting sacked like 4 or 5 times. And Chris Jones has got to get in at least to assist on one of those. So plus 200, I think there's value there. What about CMC, Christian McCaffrey, to score 2 or more TD rushing touchdowns? That's a plus 430. You tell me you can't see him, the ball. He has 1 touchdown from the 1-yard line and another touchdown where he broke a 30, 40-yard run. And it very well could happen. He's a touchdown machine. So plus 430 for 2 or more touchdowns. Here's one that, plus 4,000. Can you not see Buckner of the Chiefs kicker potentially lining up for a 60-yard field goal? We're in a dome. Remember, we're in a dome where the weather's not going to be a factor. And Moody, you tell me that one of these kickers in a end of a half, maybe, a desperate scenario or end of game, might attempt a 60-yarder. And these guys have the power to make a 60-yarder. Buckner's made 60-plus yarders before. And you put it in a dome, high-pressure situation, at plus 4,000, put $10 on it, put $20 on it, why not? Some game specials as well. Travis Kelce, 25 yards each half. I mean, he's been a beast. It didn't work out in the Buffalo matchup. He had most of his yards in the first half, but the Baltimore matchup, no problem there. He's on fire. Brock Purdy and Mahomes combined for 600 yards, plus 400. Now, again, it's plus 400 for a reason. One of these guys has to go off, right? What if it's Mahomes? What if it's Purdy? What if this is a shootout? And these guys are creeping up both at 300. And the one guy goes to 365 or something like that. The season's over. There's no tomorrow. So plus 400, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking. And what about Deebo Samuel and Travis Kelce combined for 200 yards receiving? This is plus 550. The odds are, I may not see this happen, but you tell me you can't pencil in Travis Kelce for 100-plus yards in the Super Bowl? Deebo Samuel has the potential for 120, 130 yards. Run and catch. We've seen it before. So at plus 550, there might be some value there. Deebo Samuel is a significant piece to the 49ers offense. So those are my initial thoughts, my opening round. Leading 1 week of 2, we got a wait for the Super Bowl. Those are my opening thoughts. I got to believe, let's start thinking together here on how this game may play out. The majority of folks, excuse me, are going to think Kansas City's going to win, and I'm trying to convince myself that can't be the case, but Patrick Mahomes is the best player on the field, bar none. It's hard to bet against him, but I go back to how this team has been winning. The offense has stepped up enough, but then they have power outages like they did against Baltimore where they had no points in the second half. Think about that. No points, and Baltimore couldn't come back. That just showed you their defensive game plan, the defensive impact for Kansas City has been a major factor to why they're here, obviously. So when you look at the 49er roster, and they haven't played well. They've kind of limped by Green Bay. Detroit should really be in the Super Bowl. Let's not kid ourselves. But when that offense got rolling, look at the weapons they have, right? They have Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, Ayuk. You know what I mean? They got, Purdy back there. They got Kittle. They have tons of weapons, and they have an offensive genius in Shanahan, head coach. And you give him a week and a half. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's Brock's time. Brock Purdy's time to have his moment. And if they can get going and forcing Kansas City to chase, and it becomes a shootout, can Kansas City keep up? Can they? Really? And if there's a team that may find success against Kansas City's offense, it's a team like San Francisco, where you cannot game plan for everybody. Eventually, a Deebo Samuel reverse or a screen pass to Christian McCaffrey or a Brock Purdy deep ball to Ayuk. Somebody's got to be open, right? There's got to be somebody on San Francisco who's going to make an impact play. So let's think about San Francisco here. Yes, they are the favorites. But yes, I think it's going to turn. The line's going to shift to the Kansas City Chiefs. But why can't San Francisco pull this out? Why can't we? I said we. Does that mean I'm on them too? I don't know. I'm debating. And what I'm also debating, for you Super Bowl freaks out there, is what do we do for a Super Bowl party? Every year, not only am I cramming to get my thoughts around what bets to make, where the value is, where we're going to get paid, but it's also where is the spot to watch the Super Bowl. Is it something as simple as a basement in the bullpen here? Maybe run a podcast at the same time as we did last weekend. Please go back and check out our last 2 episodes that I posted, 2 specials, where we had live commentary throughout the game, AFC Championship and NFC Championship in 2 separate podcasts. Please give it a listen. Tell us your thoughts. A little audio issues there. A few audio issues. I'm sorry about that. That's the first time we've kind of used 4 connections there. And we're learning. We're getting better. But, where do we host a party? Every year it's at a pub. It's at a bar. It's at a place where the crowd's going nuts. Maybe there's a buffet, no buffet. What's that perfect party? I don't know. But you know what? As a football fan, sometimes I don't give a shit about making a squares. That people are worrying about the scores at the end of the quarter so that who's getting paid out. And sometimes you just don't want to be the guy running that because you want to pay attention to football. And with live betting being what it is today, you want to stay on point of every movement, every line change, every situation that could provide value to you. So we'll see how this works out, and we'll lead up, and I'll share with you whatever plans we move forward to. So I wish you the best of luck at the moment. We'll talk again multiple times leading up to the Super Bowl, but I encourage you to keep an eye on what the lines look at, the line movement, the information. Again, I'll share with you, I use BetStamp to kind of get a snapshot of my local bookies, the legal bookies when I say that, and what the line movement is. Also, VSiN, very good source. Check their podcast out. A lot of content if you're looking to kill time, but interesting betting information and insight from many guests. It's worth it, trust me. Bet the Board podcast, also valuable. This is our dream time. This is the end of betting season. I look at this as the end of the season after Super Bowls, the beginning of the betting season, or the end. I haven't decided. It's at the end of the season and starts with football season, probably so. Maybe we'll call it the dark days of betting compared to what NFL season brings us. So I'll leave you at that. Take a look at your different sports books. Look for different props that stand out to you. And probably won't touch base until closer to the kickoff for some of these novelty ones. I personally don't give a crap about length of a national anthem and coin toss and, what Travis Kelce proposed to Taylor Swift if the Chiefs win. All that fun stuff. I don't care. But I know you care. And maybe I'll bring it your way and get some thoughts. So, The pleasure's all been yours. The Overrated Experience, again, can be found on X at Overrated, EXPER2. Follow us. Let me know you're following us. Let's get the conversation going. Let's get some money. Let's get some fun. And we'll talk again. Pleasure's all yours. Overrated Experience is out.